Hi, my name is Lotta. This video is a documentary on feminism and my thoughts. As I'm new to feminism, I found myself changing opinions quite a lot, especially after discussions and interviews with people. I make an animation to document some interesting conversation with people around me. Disclaimers: everyone I interview in this documentary is anonymous. The following content might include very personal and radical opinions. Please keep in mind that they don't represent any types of groups except for the speaker themselves. The first interview was with my grandma. It is for the animation, but I was also doing research for my zine, Me, a Feminist Newbie. It has 2 pages that are about my grandma's life as a victim of the patriarchy.
嗰啲老年中心度啊，有日話去學寫字嘅，佢學寫字嘅，同埋咧就畫畫嘅。阿婆婆又走去喎，又走去學寫字，學毛筆字，畫山水畫。但係人哋個個都識畫嘅，個個都識字嘅，係阿婆婆一個唔識字嘅啫，一個唔識字嘅啫。不過我從來唔會怕自己唔識嗰樣嘢去怕，唔敢上堂噶，我一定去。人哋笑我都唔驚佢哋嘅，我唔識我先去讀啫，識我唔需要去讀。嗰老師讚我㗎，話我好㗎，肯定學個嘢啊。所以我學得而家啲字，而家嗰啲字咧，我識睇，嗰份報紙我識睇嘅，不過我唔識寫啫，我識睇嘅嚟㗎，一報紙識睇嘅，唔識寫咁樣咯。好啦，又係嗰度咧，嗰度學院又邀請學拉二胡喎，彈古箏喎，我又去咯喎，你婆又去喎。
係啊，你屋企又有打古箏㗎嘛？
係啦，所以拉二胡學咗兩好多好，即係話兩起上嚟就好，即係樣樣都想去試下，知道嗰樣嘢係乜嘢嚟，但係唔精咯，學得唔叻咯，知道係嗰樣嘢啫，但係冇話好叻，冇話成隻歌仔拉你出嚟，我拉唔到嘅喎，嗰個古箏又彈唔到嘅喎，彈唔到成隻歌仔出嚟嘅喎，淨係知道咁樣去嘅啫。學嘢樣樣都係學到啲就唔學到好多咯。咁樣咯。
咁你會唔會覺得係因為你後生我就冇機會學，所以至咁？如果你
係啦，冇錯。如果後生我學嘢，我應該係才女嚟㗎，知唔知啊？
我當係啦。
有錢俾我讀書，我係才女嚟㗎。
係啊，
係啊。好啦，仲有咩問題？
咁你之前咪話嗰個咩？因為你屋企你係最大嗰個女，所以你唔結婚嘅話，你之後啲人都唔可以結婚咁樣。
係啦，所以咧，阿婆婆嗰年24歲咧。就當阿婆婆老姑婆啦，嗱聲叫我結婚啦，嗱聲搵個男仔俾我結婚啦，咁樣咯。你阿公公咧睇咗2次咋，我見咗佢2次咋。你阿太太就同我揸咗紙去結咗婚啦，趕掂晒日子啊，叫我翻去結婚係咁樣嘅咋。你話係咪以前啲咁樣啊？
係咪？
我老姑婆咯，24歲老姑婆咯，唔嫁咯，佢搵個男仔俾我嫁咗佢咁樣噶。
係咪好唔公平啊？而家諗翻。
係啊。咁你又其實嗰陣時我可以唔翻去噶喎，唔翻去結婚都得噶喎。不過我又唔想個父母結婚即係做咗落嚟，應承咗人哋做嘅嘢，冇可能你自己唔做噶，咪自己要守個承諾咯。父母應承咗人哋做，你做乜嘢？你個女唔會翻去結婚，嗰個父母好難做咯。應承咗人哋噶嘛，禮金要咗人哋噶咯，你個女有乜嘢要走鬼噶？唔得噶嘛。喂，就咁又走咗去結咗婚咯，就咁咯。
不過好啊，因為而家都冇呢啲習俗，所以就算你仔唔結婚都冇所謂咁樣。
冇所謂係啦，隨佢自己中意啦，認為點個環境好咪變咗去做嘢都冇乜所謂噶。以前唔係噶，啲女仔大啲唔得嘅，要到姑婆要拍你出去噶，一定要結婚噶咁噶嘛，所以咪咁咯。
但係而家我估都會有啲批評咯，即係如果女仔到一個年齡話，或者30歲或者係40幾歲嗰陣唔結婚，就會俾人鬧嘅。都會有
噶，咁大個仲唔結婚啊？咁樣都有人咁樣話嘅。不過唔緊要，自己諗住係點做就冇乜所謂嘅，自己做得啱就得噶啦，唔需要理人哋點講嘢嘅，就咁啦。好啦，講到仲有咩啊？
After the interview, I have a new view on the effects of patriarchy, especially on Chinese culture. I'm mad at how it resisted my grandma's will to pursue education, and I'm glad that our society has changed it now. It's actually a surprise to me how woke my granny is, because not only is she aware of how unfair it was to her, but she still continues to learn even as an elder. I just love her energy. I wish to become someone like her when I get older. Moreover, I think how Chinese tradition and patriarchy linked together is interesting, so I explore more in my second scene. The next one was with my friend Link, who I found to have contradictory opinions comparing to me before. I was hoping to find a reason behind those thoughts in this interview.
And another reason why I don't believe you can't make people then instantly like everyone, because it's like people associate like even though it is generalization, people will associate bad experiences with some people within a group, because that's how you learn from stuff, that's how you like survive. It's like I remember, I know you look really pissed off, but my like uncle and aunt, they tried to take in this rescue dog, and she must have been like abused by like men or something, so she was very aggressive towards men. Now obviously I like half of you was like annoyed because you're a bit like, but like my uncle's really nice, like why are you so mad at him? But naturally,
this is sexist.
but naturally the dog has learned, oh, these people are the ones who harm me. So even though, I mean, I'm not saying that the dog's literally thinking this through, but like probably assuming how unconsciously it works, it's like they're like, these people have hurt me before. This person might be perfectly fine, but there is the chance that they might be like the people before, so I've got to be wary of them. And that's actually just how people survive. And I feel like people, all they need is to meet someone from a certain group, which gives them a bad experience, and now it changes it.
Well, to be frank, I kind of have that, but it's not to teenage boys. Like every time I walk on the road, when I see a bunch of teenage boys, I would just be kind of scared. And if they are like laughing and stuff, I would just think, oh, they're probably laughing at me.
Yeah.
It's just like, I have that stereotype that teenage boys are very bad.
You're not turning around and you're like, I hate all teenage boys, I want them to all to like die, and like they all should die, and I hate, like they deserve their rights taken away, and I hate them, and I'll just stay virgins forever because I hate all of them. Like, you're not saying that, it's just naturally your gut instinct is to be wary, because like you know from they're not all great people. Like, and I feel like a similar way. I think the only difference is that people feel more justified in being wary of teenage boys, whereas I feel like the people I'm more wary of, people are like, you can't like be wary of them. It's like, well, I'm gonna feel wary of them no matter what you say. So
I don't agree with myself, to be fair. Like, even though I don't like teenage boys, but there's gonna be exception. There's gonna be good teenage boy out there. I don't think everybody is gonna just go on and harass people like what I have experienced there. Like, I believe there's like still good people around there, but it's just like I avoid them because I avoid them because I want to protect myself.
No,
I don't want that either.
No, because that's what I'm trying to say about the, like, I know you're disagreeing with what I was saying about the hormones, but like people at the end of the day, like even though we've become modernized and whatever, we're still like animals from like evolution, and that isn't, yes, I know you're making that face, but like I do find it a bit cringe when people are like, oh, we're all just like animals though, and then like, as I say, people have been a result of evolution. Like, we haven't just been spawned in, unless you believe in God, I suppose, or like Minecraft. But like that's not like how it like works, at least in my opinion. And it's like you being wary of teenage boys, like even though in your mind you're like, I don't want to be wary of them, your own experiences has caused your body to react a certain way to them. So even if you're trying to say, I want to be better and I don't want to be like scared of them, you can't really stop your body from having that gut instinct, because that's just the way it's been primed. Otherwise like, you accidentally burn yourself and you learn don't touch hot things. If you didn't learn that, then you would just probably get a load of burn marks on you, wouldn't you? So
no, but it's the same logic to every stereotype, because if we want to change the stereotype, if we don't want any stereotype to be in the world, we need to start changing. We need to like give up on that mindset, or else like racist people or homophobic people is gonna continue to exist.
I suppose that is the justification for stereotypes. I think that's why I feel a bit like I don't think we should have stereotypes, and I do think it's good for people to like break them down, but I think that's only going to happen through people actually meeting people rather than just being told, because you can be told anything. I feel like people's experiences come from, and that's why I'm saying, even though like I believe like in my mind that everyone like it's like will be fine and it's not right to stereotype people, from my own experiences I'm still going to naturally stereotype people. So I feel like if people have been stereotyping people, they should meet people that they've been stereotyping and then like learn from that, rather than just being told they're wrong, because people are going to learn more from their experiences than just being like told stuff. So
I would say my views did change after this. I found myself getting very upset when Link mentioned the biological resources. I think it's because usually when people use them, it's to justify something bad. I think using I'm just a girl or it's just boys being boys can't justify anything. But I think I shouldn't just reject everything that links to biology, because it's not always negative. Maybe I should be more accepting of scientific information. I also discovered that I have a big stereotype about teenage boys. Even though we define it as self-protection, I still doesn't feel right. I think the stereotype is limiting my potential in meeting new people. To overcome this, what I need is, as we discussed this, to have actual experience with the people we have stereotyped. which means talking to boys more. It's just that I need the courage to actually go for it. After this, I had a discussion with another friend, because I had some chats with her on feminist topics before, so I thought she could provide some good views.
A lot of women have more empathy than men, which, I mean, I think I've always, like, if my friend ever got hurt in primary school, you know, you'd be like, oh no, maybe laugh about it afterwards, but a lot of boys would just be like, oh, you fell off that, ha ha ha, and there's never any care about their friends beyond the basic. So I think when they get older, if you think, like, something happens to a girl that they know, they're not going to feel that empathy for her, because if they haven't gone through that, then they don't understand it, whereas a lot of women, even though you haven't gone through it, you can empathise, that's not right, you can empathise with them, and still give them emotional understanding.
Do you think it's a part of like our sex kind of determine that, or is it because of our culture?
No, I think that's definitely probably because of sex. I think, like, I do think women have always been, like, if you have a kid, I mean, even if you look at animals, like, there's been lions that will just eat their kids, like the men.
Oh wow.
Because I don't know if it's lions or tigers. One of them, if they don't like their kid, they will just kill it. Whereas the mums are more, you know, nurturing. Even though,
care.
yeah, they care. And if you think, like, after a woman has a baby, she cares about that baby, no matter what. Like, you're always going to care about your kid no matter what. Whereas, I'd say a lot of men, not now, I think, traditionally, were more, yeah, as long as I see him on the weekend, you know, who cares? And it's even shown with the, like, when they get divorced. And it's like, oh, I'll have them on the weekend, you know, I'll be the fun parent. And the mum's the one who's actually got to look after them, feed them, take them to school. You know all the issues with the kid because they're there all the time. And I think that just shows the level of emotional understanding that a lot of women tend to be, I think, born with. But they might learn it. I'd say probably is a bit culturally as well, though, because a lot of men don't get brought up the same way. Like I've already said, like, if you have your mum sat there with you being like, oh, well, if you understand why she did that, because, you know, this is going on at home. Whereas a lot of boys, their parents probably just like, oh, they shouldn't have done that, how dare they?
The other day I talked with another friend, and she kind of like say something similar. Like, she think women kind of born with that caring or like mother loving nature. Like, when she was young, even though nobody tell her to do that, she would still take care of like the baby doll.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not. I won't think in the way that every girl, every woman just have the nature of a mother.
Yeah. I mean, some people probably shouldn't be mums. I've met a few where it's like, oh, I don't know about that. But, like, if you look at how girls, like, if you think in secondary school, friend groups, how, like, girls tend to bond, it's normally, like, talking about things and being like, oh, this happened to me. And then someone else being like, oh my God, that happened to me as well. Isn't that so tragic? Where it's like, I don't know if you've seen a lot of, like, teenage boys interact, but they're awful. So, honestly, one of them will be like, oh, my granddad died. And they'll be like, oh, sorry, man. Anyway, what are we doing this weekend? And it's like, a lot of them don't have any care for certain topics. They're only really interested in non-upsetting things, if that makes sense. Like, they don't stick on topics.
They move on.
Yeah. It's the way the teachers deal with them. They deal, at least in my school, they dealt with the boys a lot different than the girls. Like, if a girl said something quite nasty, they would say something. But a lot of the times if a boy said something, they'd just be like,
boys.
Yeah, boys.
Typical.
I mean, we had one teacher who would literally be like, so how's the football game, guys? Like, when all the boys walked into class. And then the girls walked in class and she'd be like, well, you guys sat down. Come on, guys, get your book out. Look at all the boys there already.
What the fuck?
And it's like,
although, like, a thing that I found, like, I observed it, that a lot of time when, like, men do stuff, people will use, like, skills of, like, oh, it's just because, like, they're men. It's quite natural.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like, why do being a man become excuse for horrible behaviour?
Yeah. Which I do think that can kind of link back to the whole empathy thing with women either just naturally having it or being taught it. Either way, if most women have empathy and a guy does something stupid, you can kind of understand why he's done that. Like, if he does something really dumb, like says something stupid, you can be like, okay, he was just having a dumb moment. Whereas, and you can kind of not forgive them, but you can understand it. Whereas when a woman does something stupid and a guy's got to understand it, if he doesn't have that empathy, he can't understand it. And if you think, if that's been happening for thousands of years, eventually it just becomes a boys will be boys type thing.
I don't think it's clear enough in the interview, but basically my friend's theory is that most women have empathy and most men don't. Because of that, women often can't understand why a man will act stupid. Meanwhile, when women are acting stupid, men can't understand and empathize to them. As women are being more acceptance of men's behavior, they accept that their stupid actions that often are coming from some types of reasons relating to their sex. So they accept the fact that boys will be boys, and those are normal male behaviors. And men are happy to use those excuses because by blaming everything on their biological sex, they don't need to carry any responsibility. This continue on and leads to women having to be more empathetic and understanding, and men not having to be accountable or empathetic.
Yeah, I just don't really like it, to be fair though.
No, I hate the whole boys will be boys.
I think that's like a thing that we can fix by education.
Yeah, because have you seen a lot of schools are apparently going to add lessons like just for men of like how to treat women, and like they're going to start getting men involved younger on not sex ed but you know what's in sex ed, like the boys boys go different to the boy room, the girls go to the girl room. I think everyone should be together, and there's talk that they're going to change the curriculum so that everyone's together sooner on, because obviously when you get to year 7 you do biology and then you find out everything, but we start sex ed here in year 5 and you learn about periods and the boys learn about their thing, and then year 6 you come together and kind of do a little like babies talk, but I think the younger you are that you learn about it, the more accepting they will be. So like I do think girls as well do have, I mean, I'm out myself here, but I am very much, if a guy was to come up to me and a girl was to come to me, I'm going to treat the guy different because he's a guy. Which, even though that isn't fair, I've had a lot of guys be absolutely horrible to me just because I'm a girl. And I'd never be horrible to the guy because he's a guy, but I'm also going to be extra cautious. Like, no, I don't want to go around your house, I've only known you a week. Whereas a girl could invite me around her house within a day of knowing her, I'd be like, yeah girl, let's go!
Yeah!
Like, I think if people grow up closer together and not caring about gender, it would make people treat people differently when they get older.
The empathy take is a compelling one that I've never thought before. It is a new view on how sex differences result in the society we're in. Yet, I think I will keep it persistent on whether it's cultural or biological. At the end of the interview, we also came to a similar conclusion to my previous one, that to diminish gender stereotypes, we need to let boys and girls meet more and educate them together. Since I was only interviewing with women before, I think it won't be fair to men. I'm also curious about what men think. As people always talk about men and women as two different species, I wonder if our brains are actually that different. I interviewed the man that I'm most familiar with, my dad. I talked to my dad about anything and everything, from philosophy to politics. I've asked him questions on feminist topics before, and he did shape to my field. I think my dad is quite wise, so he could give me some new angles to see things.
即係其實有時我發現我喺接觸呢啲女權主義嘅書之前係冇留意嗰啲嘢，但係我睇完啲書之後發現咗多啲，就係我身處嘅環境同埋媒體之中有啲令我不適嘅內容，因為佢哋好強調男仔要點樣或者女仔要點樣，但係又會同時間令我覺得我好似好玻璃心咁樣咯，因為我會對呢啲嘢好敏感啊而家。
咁我哋要接受啦，即係正如我哋生活喺個社區、學校、班房裏邊、職場上邊唔同嘅同事都會有唔同嘅諗法咯，即係佢哋帶住不同嘅背景同埋經歷啊嘛。咁我哋都要接受係會有呢啲唔同嘅聲音、不同嘅睇法嘅。咁所以呢啲嘢就好似反映咗個社會個現況係咁樣樣，但係如果我哋冇自覺嘅話咧，我哋就會將呢啲嘢當成係一個事實嘅全部，而忽略咗一啲唔同嘅群體佢哋嘅處境同埋佢哋嘅聲音咁就好大問題咯。咁就會好似我哋叫做好似不斷再生產咗一啲以往唔好嘅價值或者關係咯，不斷 reproduce 咗咯。咁但係如果我哋帶住一啲性別嘅視野，咁我哋會了解到呢啲唔係事實嘅全部，呢啲係一啲偏見嚟嘅，係裏頭係存在咗一啲偏見嘅，或者係有佢有一啲立場，有啲前設嘅，咁於是乎我哋咪可以喺睇嘅時候 增加咗對呢啲事情嘅批評同埋反省咯。咁我覺得呢個係重要咯，即係變咗喺個空間裏邊，你唔係話禁制呢啲嘢唔可以存在，但係你俾啲空間提供另一啲視覺，或者喺裏頭可以引發啲討論，到底呢一樣嘢係點嘅咧？係咪反映到事實咧？裏頭有冇偏見咧？係我哋有個胸襟，有一啲自由嘅空間，大家可以討論，可以批評，可以交流嘅。從而亦都提供到另一啲嘅視野嘅劇集嘅歌曲或者產品，令到啲人可以選擇嘅咁樣樣。
但係如果係我嘅話，我會想選擇啲同我嘅價值觀合啲嘅影集或者媒體咯。咪
就係咯，當然啦，即係我就係意思係，即係我哋唔係要禁制嗰啲嘢嘅出現啊嘛。但係我哋要第一就係我哋要有一個批評呢啲嘢，批評同埋反省呢啲嘢到底有冇扭曲到個社會，或者係咪反映到社會嘅真實？
係。
另外一方面就係話，如果只係得呢啲產品，而冇另一啲即係我哋認為即係更有價值或者係更多元嘅選擇嘅話，咁呢個社會係真係有問題咯。因為呢個社會就變咗係某一種價值即係主導咗，而令到其他被壓抑忽略嘅社群，佢哋嘅聲音消失晒咯。
之前我同我另外一個朋友傾呢個嗰陣都講過，就佢覺得如果我哋每個人都有選擇嘅自由嘅話，我哋就冇可能達到平等，因為每個人都會有好似頭先你咁講有唔同嘅想法。
我又唔係好同意咯。因為每個人都可以選擇自己嘅想法，同埋即係選擇自己想行嘅路。咁呢種選擇權先係平等嘅體現啊嘛。咁我哋唔係講緊嗰個結果係一定要一致啊嘛。即係唔係話條路都係嗰條路先叫平等，或者每一個人都做同一件事先叫平等啊嘛。即係呢個只係從結果上面去睇咧，我哋唔係追求緊呢一種嘅即係平等。呢個只不過係將所有可能性變成平面化、單一化。我哋追求嘅係一種選擇嘅權利啊嘛。
所以平等唔等於一致。
平等唔等於一致，唔等於一致。平等不等於一致。反而平等係可以體現到多元，可以體現到 diversity， 可以體現到對不同嘅 personality 嘅 respect， 呢個先係平等咯。就係佢哋即係可以係同時有選擇嘅權利，而呢種權利係得到社會嘅包容、尊重，同埋甚至乎係培育嘅 cultivate 嘅。咁呢種先係平等咯。即係我哋亦都即係如果純粹講選擇權利咧，抽空咗，如果好抽象咁去講咧，亦都係有問題嘅，可能會即係譬如話你都可以選擇做翻 LGBT 㗎，不過可能你揾唔到工，冇收入，因為職場對 LGBT 好多歧視，可能你唔可以結婚，因為個社會唔容許同性婚姻，因此你有好多只有 couple 先享有嘅福利都會被剝奪。咁然後你話你可以選擇㗎。你可以有呢個權利嘅，我哋好尊重你嘅平等嘅。咁呢個唔係真正平等。所以我哋講緊平等，你係選擇權，而且呢個權利係應該被保障、尊重同埋 cultivate 嘅。
都係講翻都係包容咯，包容嘅問題。
嗱，你可以tolerance， 我唔知英文會點講啦。如果有 tolerance 嘅話，就俾人感覺係一種 attitude 咯。即係唔足夠啦。如果係咁就我會 tolerate 你嘅。咁又唔足夠㗎，
接受
咁又唔足夠㗎。tolerate 你，我會 tolerate 你嘅。你雖然咁樣做，我都會 tolerate 你嘅。咁你係咪聽到好似咁？我係咪有啲咩做錯，所以要你容忍我咧？
係喎。
咁所以我講緊就係話 respect
尊重
最基本，你要 respect 尊重嗰個人。
係
因為佢作為一個人，佢係有 dignity嘅，佢可以選擇自己 自己忠於自己，符合自己興趣符合自己自我理解同埋潛能嘅嘢嘅，咁呢個係 respect 啦。咁 respect 之外其實係唔夠嘅喎。你要如果你真係 respect 佢嘅話，你要有一啲方法渠道去 cultivate 佢，培育呢一樣嘢，令佢發展，係咪？係。如果你冇機會 cultivate 嘅咁要佢自己單獨摸索嘅，好孤立嘅社會冇任何 support 嘅，咁唔係真係嘅 respect 嚟噶嘛。所以第二個 cultivate 佢，例如你學習上有機會俾佢增進呢方面嘅知識啦，佢想做呢一樣嘢，可以提供到一啲方法渠道門路啦，諸如此類。咁第三個樣嘢就係保障咯 ，protect 佢。但如果佢有差別對待，因為選擇呢條路而被差別對待嘅，佢應該得到保障啦。應該社會上有啲政策唔容許呢啲事情發生啦，咁樣咯。所以係呢三個層面啦。咁如果你問我嘅意見嘅話，我就覺得如果咁樣講就會好過淨係講 tolerance 咯 ，tolerate 咯。
確實。我諗我睇過咁多唔同嘅，即係女性主義。我感覺我最認同嘅一個主義應該都係存在主義、女性主義。
咁你可能睇多啲睇下西蒙波娃咯，試下。
我冇時間。有時間，
日後有時間。
我諗我做完個 project 之後，可能會睇。可以再進修咯，因為學習係無止境。咁同埋你呢個 project 最大嘅作用，其實除咗嗰個 project 就係啟發你之後嘅摸索嘛。我諗係咯，我嘅其中一個諗法都係咁樣。enlighten 你自己嘛。
My view did change a lot after this. On one hand, I realized that my thought of tolerating others in different groups is disrespectful. It's a view that considers others as lesser or wrong. I'm glad that I noticed it. On the other hand, I feel better about myself. Even though sometimes I still find myself being trapped in the patriarchal mindset, I believe that I can keep my mind open, keep reflecting, and growing. I've been finding that I'm having interest in existentialist feminism is quite important. Although I was doing all the research and interviews because of the project, I will continue learning more about feminism because I find it important. I think at this point, I can consider myself a feminist too. Finally, to finish off, I decided to face my teenage boy stereotype again. I was thinking who I should interview, and my dad suggested I interview his friend's son, David. I was so against this idea, but then I realized this is probably because of the stereotype I have. I don't really know this 14 years old, except that he's chatty and has got into fights before. Yet, is it alright to assume that he will tease me just because of those? I was saying how I hate people putting me in a box, but then I was doing the same. So I decided to explore it and asked him anyway. Despite being a jerk in the beginning, he did agree to do it. He also invited an activist friend, Jamie, who was also 14 years old. This interview was done in text, so I will voice over them.
In your opinion, what's the reason some boys harass girls in a teasing way?
They see them as weak or something and want to tease them because they have been influenced to think that they are more powerful or dominant, which is bullshit.
I think they're bored and don't have anyone to talk to.
What's the reason behind raping and sexual harassment from men?
Horny-ass settlers who can't get girls and think they're tough even though their willies are smaller than a 5-inch club.
They feel like they're better than women and wants to exploit women for their own benefit.
What do you think men should do to help achieve gender equality?
They should make all jobs equal pay and educate children and adults on the topic.
I think women should work more. Studies show women should work more. Studies show women work 36 hours in UK while men work 41.
Do you think men should become feminists too?
Yes, definitely.
I think men should support feminism and the original goals such as suffrage, equal rights, and fair treatment, but I feel like the word feminism and its meaning have shifted from the original goals into an insult or weapon. I think it turned from work with males to blaming most problem on males.
Do you think our culture treats men and women differently throughout their upbringing?
When they are young children, yes. As sexism is in place along with stereotypes of what they should like, for example, colors, like boys like blue and girls like pink.
I think our culture treats men and women differently throughout their upbringing, such as most teachers being girls or women so they relate better with girls, and in the legal rights, women receive lighter sentences comparing to men.
If you have a girlfriend and she asked you to buy pets for her, will you feel ashamed? Why?
No, Having a period is normal, obviously, and I don't get why other boys feel so disgusted by it. I have 2 sisters myself, and if one of them asked it, I'm happy to do it.
Will never happen.
In general, I have a positive feel shift after this. Jamie proved that not all teenage boys are awful. I guess by knowing this, it gives me the courage to communicate with people out of my comfort zone more. And on the other hand, I disagree with a few points with David here. Since I got the permission to object to his speeches, here's the reason why I don't agree with him. First, about women working less compared to men, it is a fact. Yet, beside the amount of work they did in the job, you also need to consider the unpaid work women often have to do, including childbearing and housework. They restrict a woman's time and abilities to work, so I don't think it's fair to compare the working hours like this. Second, in the speech, David mentioned that he thinks nowadays feminists blame most problem on men. I believe he's referring to radical feminists. It is often a tendency I notice online where they express a deep hatred toward men. I don't agree with them, but I understand where they're coming from. Yet, it is important to know that not all feminists are radical, and most feminists nowadays are pursuing gender equality. Third, the situation where women receive a lighter sentence compared to men does happen. The reason is something more complicated than just gender inequality, yet the root can be traced back to it. After all, I do think that no matter the gender, the prisoner should get the sentence they deserve. Although we have different opinions, I appreciate that David took the time to answer all my questions. It helped me to figure out why people have diverse views. Before the project started, I've been interested in feminist ideas because of the little moment of me screaming, "Hey, that's not fair," or "That's a bit weird," I had while consuming media. Despite not knowing much about feminism, those uncomfortable feelings led me to notice more traces of gender inequality and gender stereotypes. Part of the reason why I choose to use interviews for my outcome is that I can show the unfiltered opinions from participants directly this way. Another reason is that I imagine it would be engaging to turn podcast-like conversations into animation. For a topic like feminism, one might find it dull and hard to get into. But by turning the interviews into animations, the message can be conveyed in an energetic way. I think comparing me before and after those interviews, I grew new opinions and changed it in a good way. As my dad has said to me before, learning about feminism really enlightened me. Absorbing media addressing the patriarchy is important because we need to acknowledge the negative effect it brings to our society. By doing this, we can then prevent the patriarchal ideas from controlling us, or even damaging the next generation. Therefore, I want to continue reading feminist books and create art addressing the issues in the future. Moreover, I find discussing feminist topics with others inspiring. The process involved me sharing perspectives with others, which helped me develop my own field. By exchanging opinions, I sometimes discover the solution to my problems. Sometimes we started differently, but eventually reaches a consensus. Sometimes I don't agree with their views. However, I'll try to see where they're coming from. Although we might hold polar opposite perspectives, we need to respect each other as humans with free will. I hope this little video can inspire you to think and maybe have discussions with others.